Hi everyone, I'm here to share with you a project that I saw Sarah, 3 Dogs and 2 Kids on YouTube, Sarah, make on one of her recent streams. And what Sarah's was smaller because she had an Instax Share SP1 camera printer, the smartphone printer. And it comes with your cartridge and your paper, and it prints out polaroids. I think they were 2 by 3.5 or 3.25 or something. And so I thought, okay, Mandy, my daughter, does Project Life, and she prints a lot of 3 by 4s, and she'd just gone through all her photos and organised and put them in her albums and that. And so she gave me a pile of them. So I thought, well, that's a great idea that I can just put them in little flip albums like this. So these are both Amelia and Justin. It was just a test of that one. And so I'm trying to perfect it for these size photos. So what I've come up with, and I'm still working on it, is to cut a piece of cardstock 12 inches by 3.5 inches, and then we want to score it at, hang on, I've written them down. Okay, so I'll put it into the scoreboard. Let's do it. And I scored it at 1.5, 2, 6 3/4, 7 1/4. Right, and then what you're left with once you burnish all your score lines is something that looks like that. Oops. Right, so now what I've also done, now I'll tell you what, the Kaisercraft 6.5 inch pads are brilliant for this size, because they're 6.5 inches long, or 6.5 inches square, and I've cut the outside measurements, and I think I've even cut, I've cut all the paper, the height to 3.25 inches, so that's, I can get 2 pages out of the pad, out of one piece. And for the cover, I can get this part, the front and the back inside, and that out of 2 pieces. So that was pretty good. So what I've done is cut, I think I've got 10 photos of Amelia here. Hang on. It doesn't matter, but you know, I've cut 10 pieces, I think, of cardstock that are 3.25 by 4 3/4 inches long. I've cut, now this is for the inside, and I've cut 2 pieces at 3.25 by 4.5, and 1 piece at 1.25 by 3.25, and duplicated that again for the back. So outside and inside. Okay, so that's the outside, that's the inside. I will have the measurements down below in the description once I write them up. So I'm going to now, I might make the pages first, because these will need to dry before I attach them to this, so let's get those out of the road. So I'm just going to position the paper in my scoreboard and score at, now am I going to do that way, or am I going to do that way? No, I'm going to turn them upside down. This is a great album if you want to use the other side. I mean, you could put a photo on the other side as well, or it's great for journaling. Or you could just use your double-sided paper and have some pretty backings. Alright, so I'm just going to score it on the reverse side of all of these first at 1/2 inch. Oh, and that's 3/4. All right, I've been doing it wrong. Jeez Louise. Okay, hold on. All right, for those of you that don't know, if you score it at the wrong place, and that one's right, so that's good. This one's not, so I scored it at the 3/8 inch mark. So on that side, so I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to score it again at the 3/8 inch mark on that side, and I'm going to just run the flat edge of my bone folder over that, and the crease is just about gone. So I'll re-score that one at a 1/2 inch. All right, I'll keep going. So now we're just going to burnish them all. All right, we've got them all scored and burnished. Now, I'm going to start with the front one first, I think. And then, oh, I can't remember how I did this now. So I'm going to get over there like that. So I think I want to put, yep, okay. So there's your top one. Okay, and this is the next one. I'm just going to take wet glue and I'm going to put it all on that 1/2 inch scored area. And then I stand the front up, this goes behind, bring that down, and then fold, line them up and fold that over. Alright, now you may not be able to see too well just yet, but there is a little bit of overhang there. That we're going to get quite a bit of it. So that they can flip open easily. Okay, the next one, same place on that 1/2 inch scored section. Okay, stand your joined one up, fold your front piece down like that, and this one we want to let it go and fold it over, and then burnish it. Now you'll see with this one that we've got that bit extra overhang there. So, and it's because you're getting a thicker area here to go over because of the layers of the paper. And towards the end, you may end up having about, because we're going to cut it off, I'll show you what I mean by that, and you're going to end up with about 1/4 inch on one of them. So, okay, just slide it at the back there, let it slip over like that, and burnish. Okay, I'll just keep going, fast forward it until I've got all these done. So we've got the last one here now, and I'll show you how really thick this spine section is, hinge, whatever I call it. Okay, So, okay, if I measure that now, the length of that is probably just over the 3/4 inch mark. So it's added some bulk to it, but so that's it like there, and they'll sit like that straight. But if you go over there like that, you'll see, let me bring it closer. That's the back. Okay, and you can see here at the front, bring that up there like that. That's the overhang that we have. So what we want to do with that is slice it off, because these sections here are only a 1/2 inch wide, and that's where this is going to sit on there. Okay, on there. So we need to chop it down, and I'm going to chop it down a little bit past there, so we've got a bit of room to work with. Okay, craft knife is over on the other table. Hold on the bench. Okay. So just pass your knife through as many steps as it needs to go through all those layers. Oh, I need a sharp blade. I need to change it. Okay. There we go. I cut that down to just under the 1/2 inch mark, and you'll see at the very front page here, I'll zoom in, you'll see how much we have there. It's just over the 1/8 inch mark, I would say. That's how much we've got left there, but there we have just under the 1/2 inch mark, so that should fit in between those two score lines very nicely. Oops. Very nicely there. Okay. All right. That's done. It can dry while we mat these. Now, I'm going to have it that way. So the front, what have I got for the front? This one here. Okay. So I've already put the tape on it. I think I've burnished it. I'm not quite sure. Best do it again. All right. So I'll just go ahead. Oh, oops. Silly girl. Hang on. It's going that way, because what I did was I used my 1/2 inch corner chomper on there, so I've got to chomp those ends there. Okay, and I like to put my tape on first, and so when I punch it, I don't have to stuff around with glue or anything to try and get right to the edge. Just punches it all off, and you got tape right up to the edges all the way around. But then I also like to put some wet glue inside. Okay, so then this is going to have 1/8 of an inch mat all the way around, roughly. Okay. That's what we have so far. Now with this one, it's going to go there, so I need to punch those rounded ends there and then adhere that on. Okay, so I'll fast forward this so you don't have to sit through the time it takes to do this, and I'll be back. Okay, that's done. Now, don't know what to use on these, or whether I use anything. Because I have some polka dot paper here that I like, but it'd have to be cut in a way that, no, see, that wouldn't work. Maybe it will. Okay, so a bit of fiddling around, but it's probably worth it. Now, I want 3/8 of an inch, so I'm just going to chop that off there. See what 3/8 is going to give me. No, okay, so I need to chop that off about there. Now let's see if I can get perfect. Okay, so then I have just the black with the white dots, and I'll get 2 pieces out of that. So I want 4 that way, wasn't it? So 3/8. Oh no, I'm gonna have to do this and get the 3/8 there. There we go. A little bit there, but I'm going to 3 1/4. I'm going to ink the edges anyway, so 3 1/4. Right. And these don't put double-sided tape on it. I just use the wet glue. Now, another thing, I don't like to use the distress ink too much on products I'm giving away, only because I know that it never dries and it can be reactivated with water, and so with summer and the weather and people touching them and, you know, sweaty hands or whatever, they could get the distress ink on them. So I tend to use the Ranger Archival ink that's permanent once dried, so you won't get all that black stuff all over your fingers and hands and clothes even. Well, in theory anyway. Alright, let me just test it first. Yep, okay. So now I'm just going to put some wet glue on there and stick them down. Alright, there we go. That's done. And now all that needs to be done is to adhere this piece onto there. Now we obviously didn't need to, really obvious to Jen, we didn't need to put that one there because this is going to cover it up anyway. So I'm going to stick it down. So smother it in wet glue. And then center it vertically and horizontally. And because that glue, okay, let me just see where it is. Probably good there. I've got glue everywhere because I put way too much. Now what I want to make sure of is that it's able, okay, so let's lay it down now and see if it's straight. Okay, does that work? I think maybe it needs to go a little bit that way. No. Okay, let me just sit here and hold it. What I don't want to happen is the glue to seep out and stick the back page, part of the back page to the cover, inside cover. It's made a bit of a mess. So I'll make sure that shuts nicely. Okay, so pressing it down. What I might do, again, get my bulldog clips out, and that'll help it, let's hope. Okay, now while that's drying, that looks a bit crooked, but anyway, you get that, I guess. It's handmade. This paper is the black and white timeless set by Kaisercraft. Love it. And I think the colour really pops. The coloured photos really pop on these. So while that's drying, I'm going to apply some double-sided tape to the backs of these and then get them ready to be inserted on the pages. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, last one, and we are done. Well, sort of. We've got the photos in, so you can have them sideways or like landscape or horizontal, portrait. Mix and match them up. They were mainly portrait style in this one. There was only a couple of horizontal ones. So I like it. This is just a vermilion, so you could put something on the back too if you wanted. Now the closure. See how? Okay, so we've got that. That's probably don't need that long. That fit on there quite nicely. Okay, maybe I could reduce that to 4.5. Yeah, don't know why that one decided to do that. The other, okay. Anyway, done it. It's like that. Closure. I'm thinking of Velcro dots. And I've only got the larger ones. Sarah had the small, like probably even maybe 1/2 inch in diameter. Maybe not even that. Okay, where's the other one? Where are they? Right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is attempt. Okay, so let's just do this. Add some more thickness, in there, so that when it closes over, it's flat. That's pretty good. Okay, so I know where. Okay, lining these up. That looks pretty darn good. So I'm holding it. Going to put one in there in the middle. There's the middle. That'll do. Put that one there. And let's line it up again. And press it down, I guess. It's done. Press it on there. Hey. Alright, press that down. And voila, it's done. That is a good size to put in a wallet. great pics, and I'm sure, let me see this. Okay, well, let's do it that way. Just see if we add more pics in here, whether it's too bulky. I don't think it's going to be. You'll be able to put more pics in here on the other side if you had double-sided paper, or even just the whiteboard is good. So quite easily you put 2 in here. Oh, that's perfect. Good. All right, and decorate the front if you want, but I think if it's going to go in a handbag, that's good enough. You don't want too many embellishments on it there, so yay! Oh, get those photos out. All right then. Well, like I said earlier, I will have the dimensions for. See how this one is not as high or wide, whatever you want to say, as the other one. I'll just show you that, and I think it's better for the paper so that it doesn't get tatty. So this here, I think there's too much distance between the paper photo mats and the cover, and I think that that's too bulky. It's gonna, yeah, I don't like it. I much prefer it closer in size to the photo mats. So yeah, I like that one. All right, that's the measurements I'm going to have. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take off at least 1/8 of an inch, and I think that'll be good then. 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to try it with 1/4 of an inch off, and just have it at 4.5. Yep, I'm going to have it at 4.5 instead of 4 3/4. So that'll be good then. All right, done. So yeah, thanks Sarah for sharing. All right, onwards, on to the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Back again. Sorry, I went away and I made 3 more. 2 boy-ish. It could be for girls, I guess, but this one here, I put Justin's photos in. And what I wanted to tell you was that they fit the 12 pieces of pattern paper in, you know, for the photo mats brilliantly, perfectly. I wouldn't go any more. And it all depends on what type of paper you use as well. I tried it with now with this one, this is DCWV's paper, which is okay for matting, but it'll crack and split when you try and score it for the pages. So I've mixed and matched. So I think that works okay with it. It'll do anyway. So, and as well, I made this on the cardboard before I made Amelia's. I had it at 4 3/4 inches long, and there's too much wasted space there, so I made this at 4.5 inches long. So I'll have the measurements for both of them in the description below when I get time to write them up, but I thought I'd just show you just a few different designs. I'm still using the black cardstock. So I have I'm going to try and use some craft text for the outside areas next, and so I'll come back with another video later on down the track when I actually do it and show you how I get on with that. But there we go, quick and easy, great little mini brag books. Okay, I am out of here now for real. Bye everyone.